right, everyone, if we could take your seats, we're ready to get going. All right, thank you all for being here and welcome to the Texas Health Catalyst Roundup and Rodeo. Today represents the final stretch of our fall cycle of our program. And today is about highlighting and showcasing early but promising innovations that are coming out of UT and innovators to a broader audience, as well as fostering collaborations and partnerships. My name, for those who don't know me, I'm Ruben Rendasingham. I'm the Assistant Dean for Health Product Innovation at the Dell Medical School. The Roundup and Rodeo actually was a phrase coined by Steve Ecker, who heads up the Office of Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and it's a great fit for what we do. So in addition to the 8 finalists you'll listen from today, these projects and these teams, that's the rodeo piece. You will also hear from research and administrative leaders from across Dell Med and UT, who are going to share their vision for translational research and commercialization, and most importantly, how all of you could help contribute to that vision at UT. This cycle, we have, well, every cycle we have a general call for proposal, and then we have thematic calls. In this cycle, it's robotics and autonomous care. So how do we leverage the latest technologies to care for patients, but also how do we care for patients while they're not within the 4 walls of our clinical setting? And you'll hear from some very exciting teams here, as well as leadership. We have a packed schedule, as always, over the next 2 hours. But I'm super excited to open things up with Professor Fernanda Leite, who's the Interim Vice President for Research at UT. And she's going to share her vision for research, the research enterprise at UT, and how she's going to help drive the translational research and commercialization at UT, leveraging programs like the Texas Health Catalyst. So Professor Leite, yes, thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any slides. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Fernanda Leite. I'm the Interim Vice President for Research at the University of Texas at Austin. I'm also a professor in civil engineering at UT Austin. I'm a construction engineer by training, and most of my research is on AI-enabled capital projects delivery. So I do very big buildings, infrastructure systems, designing resilient infrastructure systems to protect communities. So it's really a pleasure here to be part of this event and open this event for you all. Like many of you, I've navigated a path from fundamental research to real-world application as well in my own career as a researcher at the university. And one impactful experience in my career that I've had is having participated in the NSF I-Corps program here at the University of Texas many years ago with one of my former students who's now at a startup company. And that was quite an eye-opening experience going through customer discovery with that student. So we were doing a research on scan to BIM, on automating the generation of 3D models of the built environment using different sensing technologies, and that was quite an experience. So I very much understand how critical it is to work on that translation from fundamental research beyond the lab to really bring it into practice. And that really gave me a deeper appreciation of programs like the Texas Health Catalyst that help bridge exactly that gap. And during my time as Associate Dean for Research in the Cockrell School of Engineering, I saw the power of cross-campus collaboration. And we built major research initiatives, including semiconductors, launching the Texas Institute for Electronics, and they received the largest, single most grant in the history of the University of Texas system, which was a major award from DARPA. We launched major initiatives in robotics, in quantum science, and AI as well. So all of this requires a lot of cross-disciplinary initiative. And all these efforts also highlighted what is fundamental at UT. So when we break down silos, that's when we can dramatically expand what we can accomplish in the university and beyond. And today I'm really excited about the future of research at Texas. So at UT Austin, our momentum has never been stronger. So we've doubled our research expenditures in just the last decade. And this is an extraordinary milestone for the university, where just this year we were crunching the numbers, and we're at $1.38 billion in research expenditures in the last fiscal year, and we're likely going to reach 1.45 next year in research expenditures. So that's quite extraordinary, and that's one of the things that my office works towards, is that machine behind all of the research that happens in the university. And we now are leaders nationally in areas such as artificial intelligence and semiconductors, energy and material science. And we're increasingly leaders and continue to invest in the area of life sciences, where the possibilities of what we can accomplish are just immense. So our future is bright, and because of our strengths and how our strengths align with the federal priorities that are most urgent, we're really doubling down also on secure research infrastructure. So that's one of my main priority areas in the OVPR is building out secure research infrastructure to allow our faculty to perform research that is classified, that is controlled, and so we can continue building on defense-related research. We're also investing in state-of-the-art core facilities on campus. We just concluded an equipment recapitalization set of proposals to put money back into our core facilities. We have over 80 core facilities on campus that faculty leverage for different pieces of equipment and tools. And we're also cultivating a venture-oriented mindset across campus, empowering teams to identify strategic opportunities and turn innovative ideas into tangible, impactful outcomes. And so this is where Texas Health Catalyst plays a vital role. So we foster exactly the type of cross-campus innovation that accelerates translation. Texas Health Catalyst connects researchers across fields with clinicians, entrepreneurs, alumni, industry experts, and investors who can help transform early ideas into solutions that improve health and quality of life. And it draws on the deep expertise, both inside and beyond the university, to support real-world impact. I'm especially thrilled that this year's call focuses on robotics, automation, and autonomous care. And UT is definitely a major leader in robotics through Texas Robotics, and I see the director of Texas Robotics, Jose Milan, sitting right here at the front. And so this really uniquely positions us to shape the future of healthcare delivery. From assistive systems to autonomous monitoring, precision intervention, the opportunities are vast, and UT is well prepared to lead. And just as important, programs like Texas Health Catalyst help ensure that innovation is a team sport. Transformative health solutions rarely emerge from a single discipline. They thrive when engineering meets medicine, when design meets behavioral science, and when social work and public policy help shape implementation. And when law helps navigate ethical and regulatory pathways. And I want to emphasize how excited I am to see the participation from researchers across all these areas, and I see many familiar faces here in the room, because that's what interdisciplinary research is about, and that's how we really drive impact to scale. So thank you for joining us today, and thank you for the work you do to advance health innovation at UT Austin. Please enjoy the Roundup and Rodeo, and most importantly, take advantage of the connections that you'll make here today. This gathering is an invitation to spark new collaborations, build new partnerships, and imagine the next generation of solutions that will improve lives across Texas and beyond. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you, Professor Leachy. That was great. All right, so I'm back just for a couple of minutes. before we get things started, I like to spend some time thanking our partners and collaborators and supporters. We would not exist without them. So as most of you know, the Texas Health Catalyst program was administered by the med school, but it's truly a cross-campus program. We've had long-standing partnerships with engineering, pharmacy, and natural science, as well as Discovery to Impact, even before they were called Discovery to Impact. They are the tech transfer and commercialization arm of UT, and they're great partnerships, and they provide a lot of guidance, as well as the Center for Rare Diseases internally at Dell Med, because we care about some of these underserved populations and caring for them. We have event partners, so in this cycle, we partnered with BioML, Health Translational Research Institute, and externally with Nucleate, and of course, Capital Factory. So very, very thankful to our partners. The other group that truly represents the backbone of our program are the advisors. We have more than 350 individuals who volunteer their time, their expertise, and their network to support our teams. Here's a list of our reviewers that we brought together for this cycle. So these are individuals who came together, who helped select these 8 finalists that you're going to hear from today. And they come from all over. The next slide, I want to show you the mentors who were then matched. These are, again, individuals chosen from the 350 or so panel. These are individuals who are matched with specific teams, specific finalist teams, to help them address the gaps that were identified during the review process. And this group is actually growing. We're incredibly excited and honored to be the sort of flagship of innovation that people are coming to us wanting to volunteer their time. So in this cycle, for example, Jawad Ali on the top right-hand side, long-time clinician entrepreneur here in Austin, heads up MedTech Connect, and he volunteered his time to help one of the teams. Nancy Patterson here, recent transplant to Austin, decades of experience in medical device innovation and investment, helping a couple of teams in this cohort as well. Ashley Pippin, who is the head of digital engagement for J&J. She lives in New Jersey, but she had heard of us, she wanted to support us, and she's mentoring one of the teams here, and we're super excited for her support. And then we have Kristen Backor and Michael Anselmo, who are experts in market access and reimbursement. And Michael has been here for years, but I'd never met him, and just recently met him through a mutual friend, and excited to have him on board as a supporter as well. So these mentors are helping stress test these ideas as early as possible and building viable business models around these ideas, again, as early in the process as possible, so that what they're developing is as commercially viable as possible as they develop them. All right. So let's see. So now to get things started, we'll get to the presentations. But before that, I want to introduce you to our lead health associate to tell you about our Health Associates program and how these Health Associate students at UT support these teams as well. Praneeth?
Thank you, Ruben, for the introduction. Hi, everyone. This is now the 4th iteration of the Health Associates program, which runs in conjunction with Texas Health Catalyst. I think we've engaged over 100 students now, and in this cycle's cohort, these are the 27 incredible students who've supported each of the finalist teams that you'll see on stage today. These students started off in September, enrolled in the health commercialization bootcamp that we put on for them, which is taught by some of our faculty as well as other industry mentors. And they go over topics like customer discovery, FDA pathways, intellectual property, market research. And then they get paired into teams of 3 and are paired with each of these wonderful finalist teams you'll see today. And they'll kind of consult for these teams, doing market research for them exploring reimbursement strategies for them. And it's really a great way to support our finalist teams, as well as offer incredible experiential learning for each of these students. They're really eager to learn more about healthcare innovation and commercialization. So if you see them today, please stop by and try to give them some advice or answer their questions. They really want to learn from you. And finally, I want to say that this program wouldn't be so possible without the support of our incredible team and leadership. Nicole, Martin, Steve, Keegan, Chris, and like anyone else I forgot. They really make this program possible, and we're always looking to get better. So if you have any feedback or know any interested students who might be a good fit for this program, please let us know. And now I'll pass it off to Nicole Clark to talk a bit more about our event today.
Thanks, Praneeth, and thanks everyone again for coming. Really glad that you made it out today. So I'm Nicole Clark. I'm the Director of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. I'm also the Program Director of the Health Associates program that Praneeth just shared a bit about. And I also lead the operations of the Texas Health Catalyst. So I was just going to provide a quick rundown of what to expect today. So we have 8 teams presenting. We're going to get into that in just a second. We will have our health associates do a quick 60-second intro, and then they will introduce their project teams who will do the 3-minute pitch. And then we'll be following a quick 2-minute Q&A from our judges over here on my right. The judges will be scoring on these awards listed here. And then we do have the audience favorite award, which we call the Posse's Choice. And so you will get an opportunity to vote after each cohort's presentations conclude. So for our first cohort of presentations, we've identified these 4 judges to be the ones scoring. Any of the judges are welcome to ask questions during the 2-minute Q&A. So we have Sarah Matron, Kristen Falkenstein, Elisa Coker, and Jose Milian, who will be focusing on our first cohort of presentations. So with that, I will go ahead and introduce our first health associate who will be doing the intro, Paulina Lee.
So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paulina Lee, and this fall I had the opportunity of working with my fellow associates Naveed and Aithreya to support an incredible research team. So this team is working on an extremely flexible robot, one that can help save newborn lives. So we worked to perform market research to help verify a beachhead market, twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome. And with the help of our mentors, Dr. Ali and Mr. Ladine, we were able to hone in on follow-on markets, in this case, endoluminal surgeries. And as undergraduates, we're often exposed to technologies that never reach the customer. They're confined or restricted within laboratory walls. So it's been very inspiring to help translate a powerful technology into a commercially viable product. We have faith that the team's robot can push the standard of care for delicate fetal surgeries, and we're sure that by the end of the presentation, you will too. With that, I'd like to hand it over to Dr. Mayevich-Faye.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much to our wonderful health associates. I will be giving this presentation on behalf of my PhD student, Michael, who is currently at a surgery training workshop. So I'm going to do my best not to butcher it, but I may need some help with my notes. All right, so when the world stops, we look to our heroes. But in some battles, the heroes are few. In the fight against twin-twin transfusion syndrome, there are only a few centers worldwide that can perform life-saving fetal surgery for a condition that equally impacts all twin pregnancies with a shared placenta. This condition can be fatal to both twins and the mother. Getting a diagnosis in this is a moment when time stops, placing a huge burden on families to find the care that they need. Twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome is not a volume problem. It's an access and an expertise bottleneck. Finding twin-to-twin transfusion surgery means urgently spending thousands of dollars and traveling hundreds of miles while also worrying about care for any existing children. Today, surgeons are operating with tools that haven't changed in decades: rigid scopes, single lasers, and no real sensing. It's like performing microsurgery underwater with a straw and only one chance. We don't need more heroes. We just need to empower the ones we already have. We have built a flexible robotic instrument that gives surgeons better reach, smoothly curving through the uterus with a novel bio-inspired mechanism, better control through a precise surgical robot with force awareness, better vision using laser speckle contrast imaging, perfusion maps, and real-time visual SLAM, and better decision-making to automatically target vessels for treatment. This turns an incredibly fragile operation into a guided, stabilized, and more repeatable procedure. By democratizing surgery, we can make it easier and more precise, and unlocking adoption access to more centers globally. We have taken our mentor feedback to heart and are now standing on a stronger foundation for exploring broader markets, planning clinical integration, and planning more safety and clinical feasibility trials focusing on the surgeon interface. Our path to market includes local prototyping, benchtop testing, and preclinical trials at UT Austin, pilot clinical studies throughout Texas with our local partners, developing an FDA regulatory pathway, rolling out expansion with our local partners, expanding to the US fetal centers, and then also expanding to North America. Our off-ramp is hopefully to partner with existing surgical robotics companies to commercialize our technology. Our founding team combines deep expertise in biomedical imaging experience with real fetal surgery experience and deep robotics knowledge. We've built the relationships to bring this to patients quickly. Our flexible laser speckle contrast image enabled robot has the potential to change outcomes not only for twins, but for many patients across endoscopic surgery as a whole. We are starting with a rare disease that gives us a rapid regulatory pathway, strong clinical buy-in, and early impact, which then allows us to build a platform that can scale into other major surgical markets. We are seeking your support to move from prototype to preclinical validation to bring this life-saving technology into the OR. Oops, sorry. I knew I was going to do that. Heroes are rare, but their tools shouldn't be. Support Shanai Robotics. And December is Twin-to-Twin Transfusion Syndrome Awareness Month. So, thank you. Oh, questions. Sorry, I forgot questions.
Thank you, Anne. You were emphasizing the real time because it is necessary to operate no for more than it is needed. So how fast can you get the laser speckle images?
So the laser speckle images are real time. And how it works is you basically flood the field with a laser speckle pattern, and then there's kind of like a difference image that happens, and that can be displayed real time.
And how large are the images?
In terms of the resolution of the image?
No, in terms of
the actual size?
The area that you can get.
So that's going to be dependent on the field of view of the camera that you're using. And I'll be honest that I'll have to say we'll need to talk to Michael about exactly what that size is. I'm not completely sure.
Okay, thank you.
You mentioned wanting to partner with robotic companies. Are you hoping to license the technology out, or are you planning to, or the team is planning to actually commercialize all the way?
Yes, so I think my student, Michael, he's very passionate about this project. I think he would love to be able to get it started. So we have a pending R01 to help support the project, which will sort of help make sure we can do all of the engineering in a very detailed way. And the hope after that would probably be to do like a SBIR or something like that and allow him to get that started. And then we'll have to see if it's something that he can keep doing to license, or if we need to go a different pathway, but that's the hope.
So the SBIR Reauthorization Act has not passed yet. And maybe it'll be passed next year, at the beginning of the year, or not, or it'll be changed significantly. So has the team considered other funding opportunities for this project?
Yes, so we're just waiting is the answer. We have a $3.6 million grant that $2.6 million grant that was scored well, and we're waiting to get a final notice. It was delayed because of the shutdown. Okay, thank you.
Okay, up next we have Nuha Mir and her team who will be introducing her project.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nuha Mir, and I'll be introducing the project on behalf of my fellow health associates, Jonah and Dhruv, who are unable to make it today. Over the course of this semester, we've had the delightful privilege of working with Dr. Rascon and Dr. Ding on their AI written exposure therapy innovation. The lifetime prevalence of PTSD within the United States is extremely high, and with this innovation, we'll be able to expedite and increase the accessibility of treatment all around the country. And we're closer to achieving this goal with the mentorship of Parker Holcomb and Michael Anselmo. In our role as health associates, we foster collaboration between team and mentor. This includes helping with the preparation of the speech, pitch, alongside contributing to research regarding total addressable market and pathway to regulation. And the Health Catalyst program is not only a mentorship experience for the team, but also for us as health associates. It's been an invaluable experience seeing what a future career could look like within health commercialization. And now, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Rascon, the PI behind this innovation.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex. I'm a psychiatry resident here at UT, and I'd like to talk to you guys about a big problem and a solution that we're working on to help millions of people. So post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is one of the world's leading causes of disability in mental health. It affects millions of people. There are over 20 million active and non-active combat veterans right now, and millions of them will be diagnosed with this, in addition to over 1 million first responders and policemen who already have. There are a number of well-evidenced psychotherapies that are first line for this condition. One of them is written exposure therapy. It is a 5-session writing feedback-based therapy, which is very regimented and able to be delivered in office or remote settings. But there are a number of barriers to people being able to access this care, including a lack of clinicians and a lack of being able to train clinicians in order to deliver this. So we have developed a solution now in the age of LLMs that allow us to scale this technology to be able to reach millions of people who need it. We have developed a chatbot to deliver regimented written exposure therapy. We have a great team. Myself, Dr. Ding, a world-leading AI expert. Our department has a number of world-leading trauma researchers and a number of people who are on the front lines delivering written exposure therapy around the world. We are working with our collaborators at Stanford University and the NIMH, which includes the original team that developed this type of therapy. Through this process, we've received some fantastic feedback regarding our application, and we've identified areas that will allow our product to stand out against others in a competitive field, that will improve its cost effectiveness and scalability, and identifying various pathways towards regulatory clearance, and being able to get this technology to people who need it. Ultimately, if we are fortunate enough to be able to work with the Catalyst and receive funding, we would be initially finalizing development of the bot and working on key safety and feasibility pilot studies before moving on to clinical efficacy using our trauma restore therapy network that we have here at UT. I want to thank everyone who has been involved with this project. We have an amazing team of engineers, as well as Parker, Michael, and our health associates. So thank you all very much for your time and your attention.
Hi there. Thanks for the information. There's been a number of unfortunate incidences where large language models are used in a not regulated therapy use case, and it's resulted in an increase in suicidal ideation. What are the guardrails, or how do you go about safeguarding against those types of incidences?
Absolutely, and so what we've done is we actually have developed safety guardrails that we've tested in other populations, including an older adult population with a reminiscence therapy bot that our group has worked and is publishing on as well. We have a very regimented therapy set. I think a lot of the incidents that have happened have been mainly used with like role playing and character AI, and we have a very specific multi-agentic approach to guardrailing and to being able to monitor the output of the chat and prevent that from happening, which those other things do not have. Yeah. Thank you.
To clarify, how does the chatbot actually, how do the patients interact with the chatbot? That's unclear to me, and how do you believe that that would be better than some other form of written exposure therapy?
Absolutely. And so right now, the vision is not just a chatbot that delivers written exposure therapy, but actually a platform that aids a clinician. And so this, in fact, the goal is actually to give the clinician the choice to be able to act as an aid to the clinician versus also delivering the therapy directly through a... Correct. So it's a speech-to-speech, and then they can write in hand, and then we would be able to use OCR to be able to actually input it into the LM.
So along the same lines, which is the training set that you will be using in order to build up the AI? And more importantly, how can you prevent that the AI would not hallucinate?
Absolutely. And so Dr. Ding is actually a world-leading expert on hallucination, and so we do have guardrails and a multi-agentic approach to addressing that. As far as being able to deliver the therapy and with fidelity, we are working with the people who've developed this therapy on scales and actually metrics to be able to ensure that the therapy is being delivered as it is in the literature, in concordance with how other trials for this have laid the foundation for the evidence base.
Alex, there was a couple other questions that the judges have, so I highly recommend you find them after. Okay, so next up we have Saket Bala to introduce his team.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Saket Bala, and I'm joined by my fellow health associates, Jennifer and Akshara, as well as our advisors from Dell Medical School, to present to you a bilingual, stigma-free HIV clinical assistant designed specifically for uninsured, socioeconomically disadvantaged, and Spanish-speaking communities in the local area. Our team mapped operational and commercialization pathways needed to bring this tool to clinical settings, from chatbot development and IRB preparation to early pilots, clinical validation, and enterprise integration. We also reviewed and implemented key mentor feedback specifically regarding our risks, such as multilingual validation and workflow fit, as well as capitalizing on our strengths, such as strong clinical partnerships and a clear community demand. Lastly, we compared our tool to existing digital health models and clinical literature in the space to ensure that our product has the highest value and feasibility possible. To continue this presentation, I would like to introduce Dr. Alicia Norwood, our clinical lead and associate professor of medicine at Dell Medical School.
So Texas has a growing HIV epidemic. 10% of the people living with HIV in the United States live in Texas. 13% of new HIV infections in the United States are in Texas. And Travis County, where we are, is leading Texas in that epidemic. Gaps in testing and linkage to care fuels the epidemic. 40% of new infections come from somebody who does not know their HIV status. Why is this the case? Well, we have great medications to prevent HIV, up to 99% effective at preventing HIV, but not enough people are coming to the clinic to get them or are aware of them. That's because of a lack of information on available resources, healthcare access issues, and we anticipate more of that with healthcare funding cuts. People not knowing resources available to them, particularly if they are uninsured, stigma, medical mistrust, and language barriers. And that results in hundreds of millions of dollars in healthcare costs compounded year after year. So we are developing a bilingual AI chatbot for tailored linkage to care. And key to our model is communication that is stigma-free, trauma-informed, evidence-based, to help people understand their risk of HIV and ask an algorithmic set of questions to understand what they are looking for in a clinician, what would decrease the activation energy to get them into the clinic and to start on medication. We'll identify key questions we can ask people to help them understand these risks, to answer questions pulling from validated data, and understand what ancillary services they need that might continue to keep them engaged in their care. In the end, creating this tailored linkage to care plan. Our path to market involves development of the chatbot and IRB, approval, using patient focus groups and qualitative interviews with clinics, which we will use by tapping into a network of local HIV clinics that we have started engaging with through a practice-based research network, iterating on the model, clinical validation, and then scaling. The reviewers made clear that we need to be able to assess patient uptake and behavior change and measure the outcomes that come from that, including increased prescriptions for these HIV preventive medicines and HIV care medicines. We expect interest from industry because we are looking to increase the number of prescriptions, as well as public health department interest because we are decreasing all STIs along with HIV, and health organizations that have an attached 340B pharmacy because a lot of their funding comes from those increased prescriptions. Our IP will be differentiated based on these focus groups and pilots. This is our team, and thank you very much for listening.
Hi, thank you for that presentation. I'm wondering, because I know that the socioeconomic groups that you're trying to help, a lot of times there's concerns about them having access to, for instance, computers or phones, or basically the ability to access this type of a product. Have you thought about that and how to address that potential issue?
Yeah, that's a great question. Almost everybody does have a smartphone, and I've seen that in the clinic. I've worked at community care in our federally qualified health center, and people do have access to their phones by and large, even if they are living on the streets. So this is a way to kind of reach outside of the clinic to get people where they are, and I think we are going to still see uptake, but I think that's a very a smart thing to ask and to think through as well.
As you've indicated, a large part of this problem, I think, is in education, but there's also a huge stigma associated with it. So how do you suggest rolling this out so that patients are aware of it, have access to it, and are willing to use it?
It's another great question. So we've developed a practice-based research network of local HIV and sexual health clinics. So there are many clinics in town that have a lot of trust in the community. They provide social services as well as medical services. They have social groups, and they have already gained the trust of the community. So by partnering with them, we're going to roll this out through trusted community partners, and including street medicine and people coming into drop-in clinics, coming for STI testing, out in the clubs, out in different areas. These trusted community members are already there, and so we are not going to try to reinvent the wheel or come in as the ivory tower. We're going to go through them.
With the current political immigrant sentiments, how do you anticipate funding something like this?
Great question. So there are multiple mechanisms by which we can fund this. As I mentioned, I think there's a vested interest by public health departments because even if certain groups are more targeted politically in this particular climate, the fact is that STIs don't care. Sexually transmitted infections don't care. And so we see, Travis County leads the nation in many respects with syphilis, chlamydia, gonorrhea, HIV, and so public health departments want to keep that down. 340B funding is also critical to this. So many federally qualified health centers really rely on the income that they make from these high-cost prescriptions to fund many of their social services and other medical services. And so the more prescriptions that they get, the more financially viable they are. And then industry finally has an interest. Yes, please.
So we don't have time for another question, but just a comment. Monetization and whether this is actually perhaps a nonprofit project would be my question, and something to explore.
Thank you.
You guys can hang out at reception.
Thank you, Elisa. Thank you.
Okay, so to round out our first cohort of presentations, I'm going to invite Ishan Sheth up to the stage to introduce his team.
Before you guys start my timer, can we give a huge round of applause to the Catalyst team and to Capital Factory for having us here today? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ishan Sheth, and I, alongside my fellow student associates, Siva and Advait, have had the privilege of working with the Suture team through this Catalyst cycle. Over the course of the mentorship phase, our team supported the business and regulatory aspects of the product's development. We first collaborated with Discovery to Impact to build a rock-solid IP protection plan for the device and its software. Our team then devised a meticulous path-to-market plan, complete with a detailed approach to generate significant revenue and a plethora of expansion opportunities. We as associates had the opportunity to be integrated into a design team at the heart of healthcare innovation. And in return, we provided utility to Suture through the business sense and knowledge gained during the Texas Health Catalyst boot camps. We want to give a huge thank you to our mentors, Ms. Nancy Patterson and Mr. Trevor Lind, as well as Ms. Corey Lago and the rest of the DTI team for their guidance and support throughout this process. As an associate team, we're incredibly grateful for this opportunity, and we've learned so much over the course of this cycle. Now here's Dr. Charles Frazier, the project lead for Suture.
Thank you very much. I'm just representing some much smarter and more impressive graduate and undergraduate students that I'm fortunate to get to work for on this Suture project. I'm Charlie Frazier. I'm a heart surgeon at Dell Children's and Dell Med faculty, and it's a privilege to present here. So these are the typical patients we take care of at our heart center. This is a 4-pound baby with detransposition of the great arteries, universally fatal without open heart surgery in the first week of life. The video on the left shows us performing an arterial switch procedure. Now, if I were to tell you that to do this, it takes 4 years of medical school and then over a decade of training, you'd probably say, well, that makes sense because that looks kind of hard. But what if I also told you that during that 15 years, I never had any form of objective quantification of my ability to do this? So no haptic feedback training, no real simulation, no one telling me, hey, this device is telling me you may be a little too rough with this tissue. I think most of us would be a little concerned to have their baby operated on by someone like that, but that's every single heart surgeon in the world. So this is the market. There isn't a pediatric cardiac surgery training simulator that exists, but think bigger. There isn't a simulator that exists to give haptic feedback for any delicate open operation that we do. I say open because we've skipped over and we've addressed this problem in minimally invasive surgery like robotics with Dr. Coker, laparoscopic surgery and endoscopic surgery, but somehow we've skipped delicate microscopic tissue handling in our surgical education world. So we think that this applies to over 1,000 surgical training programs with more than 10,000 annual trainees nationwide. Suture is our solution. It's a next generation haptic enabled surgical training system that replicates the tactile experience of highly technical procedures, in our case, pediatric heart surgery. We utilize tool tissue forces to give instant feedback. We filed a provisional patent for this, and we feel like this could be expanded to any instrument to really lead the world of advanced surgical simulation. Our path to market, well, this market exists. Surgical simulation is a $1.8 billion industry with a significant annual growth rate, but we want to market to the already existent surgical simulation centers, the American Boards of Surgery, to make this the gold standard in surgical training. As I've said, we feel like there's a market beyond cardiac surgery. That's just kind of our proof of concept, but this applies to plastic surgery, abdominal surgery, transplant surgery, vascular surgery, thousands of trainees across the country. And then there are other applications that we're starting to look into for AI and robotic applications to our technology. And our ultimate goal is, just like laparoscopic and endoscopic surgery, for this to become a mandatory component of the training that I finished, so that someone is giving you objective feedback in how you can do and if you should even be doing these operations. I work with a remarkable group of people. We hope to utilize the resources here to move ahead with our pilot studies in heart surgery, and then hope to provide proof of concept for future specialties. Thank you.
Thanks so much for the presentation. You mentioned that there's not currently a feedback mechanism on how delicate you should be. So how do you get that baseline information to train the suture model?
Yeah, so our pilot study is going to be to use our device and we use our model with our surgical faculty to perform the procedures on the model to develop benchmarks for, standard practice. We have multiple senior surgeons here and have them do repetitive procedures with our model to develop baselines and then apply those to trainees and hopefully in our programs here to then go ahead.
Super quick question.
Sure.
Is your model static or changeable for different types of people's hearts or whatever
Well, we
you're working
3D print hearts all the time for surgical planning, so we have the capability to do that. Right now, we have a more basic heart surgery procedure model, but I use 3D printed hearts all the time for surgical planning, so we have the ability to apply it to any defect.
Yeah, thank you. That's a follow-up to that question. A lot of what depends on the amount of attention you want to put is the actual tissue properties. So can you use your device on animal in an animal lab or something where there's actually live tissue? Is it the instrument itself measuring it, or
it's an attachment to the instrument, so it can actually be fixed to any instrument that's used in anything. So I could bring my own instruments and attach our device onto it.
So it could be used actually in the operating room as well, or no?
Technically, but that would introduce a lot of sterility concerns, and also the other thing that's on the slide but I didn't mention is this doesn't require FDA approval because we're using it in training purposes, so that would bring the FDA into it if we were to use it in that way.
Okay, thank you. That wraps up our first cohort of presentations. So if I may invite our judges to go with Praneeth to deliberate and then come back to enjoy the rest of the show. So I will now pass it off to Steve, who will introduce us to the next person coming up on stage to share a bit about their work.
Thank you, judges. Thank you for the wonderful, your participation. I just want to give a little quick intro. So a little over 2 years ago, I moved to Austin from the Mayo Clinic back to university. But one of the reasons was the excitement and possibility of what we would now call generative biology, the opportunity to take and make in silico completely novel composition of matter. Now that idea, which really for me was hitting me about 3 years ago, was still very, very early days. But it was clear that was the path forward. I arrived here with a wonderful AI group, wonderful faculty. In the end, what got my attention was this wonderful group led by graduate students who are building their own curriculum to address this problem, and that's the BioML group. And so the last 2 years has been my privilege as a faculty to support this group as they have built out curriculum in this really great, innovative area. There's actually been a Nobel Prize given to that space, but here, they've led to all sorts of amazing things and has even led to some active entrepreneurship on my part. And one of the leaders is here, and he's going to tell you about that, Clay Stanaki, a PhD student at University of Texas.
Hi, everyone. My name is, wait, hold on. Do I have slides for this? Are there slides? Oh, perfect. Hi, my name is Clay. I am a PhD student at UT, and I'm one of the co-founders of the BioML Society. And so we are a group of mostly graduate students with a few faculty who are focusing on biological machine learning. So in particular, we tend to do a lot of education on AI for the life sciences, and as Steve mentioned, we put together a curriculum that has since become an official course at UT. We host guest speakers from all across the industry in the field, and recently we've put together some open science events that engage the broader community. And if you're interested, please come attend one of our meetings, check out our website. We'd love to talk more. And so we work with proteins primarily. We're very biochemistry focused. And we decided to do a protein design competition to help, first of all, do some outreach with the community, and then also to figure out which protein design tools work best for making novel proteins with AI. And so there's all these tools out there. It's hard for us to know which actually work best. And so we, with some collaborators that we got in touch with through the Dell Medical School, we had the opportunity to test thousands and thousands of these proteins. And so we solicited designs for a task from all across the world. And so we formed the Bits to Binders competition. This ran in the summer of 2024. And we had over 60 teams enter from over 40 different countries and 85 different institutions across the world. And the task that we asked the competitors to do was to design proteins that can bind this cancer antigen called CD20, which is present on B-cell lymphomas. And these proteins were tested in the context of CAR T immunotherapies, in which they served as part of the engineered chimeric antigen receptor, which can then guide the engineered T cell to the target to help eliminate it. And so we asked the teams to submit designs for this, and in total we collected 12,000 designs from all sorts of different methods, and we wanted to figure out which ones work best. It's kind of like a bake-off to like see what the best methods are out there. And so from this, we tested them all in the context of CAR Ts, and we found that over 6% were functional from the pooled screen that we did. And this is actually way higher than we expected for our hit rate. We were expecting like a 1 in 1,000 chance of success, and this is over 60 times that. And so we were pretty blown away by that. And to confirm that these are actually working, we brought around 10 of them to a series of individual functional assays. And this includes seeing whether they have antigen-specific cytotoxicity, cytokine release, proliferation, and expansion. And from this, we found that 7 of these 10 worked, which means that we feel pretty confident about this whole thing working in general and that people were able to make successful designs. And so in summary, what this means is that competitors from all across the world of all different backgrounds using different methods were able to create candidates, immunotherapies that can help target and eliminate cancers. And so we found this pretty mind-blowing. And we're currently working through the data to figure out which methods and general trends we can elucidate from this data and which ones work best so we can help inform the community and make design even better in the future. And so as a whole, we think this event was pretty successful in showcasing UT's ability to be the forerunners of bio-ML in the world. And so we were covered in Nature, we made some fun trophies for all the winners, and we've had some of the professors on the winning teams actually specifically shout us out in getting future awards since this competition. And so this competition was a lot of work and it had a lot of moving parts, and I couldn't have done it without all the amazing collaborators. In particular, I think here today are Ty and Steve Ecker. Thank you very much. And then also we had some amazing sponsors as well who donated not just money, but also their time. And in particular, I want to shout out the Dell Medical School as well, because without the initial introductions that they gave us to some awesome companies, this would have never happened. Thank you.
Thanks, Clay. So in full disclosure, in my past, I was dean of the graduate school, so I'm always proud of the PhD students as you do and lead. It's awesome. Okay, so I'm turning to call this the advertisement. So there's a small session here on telling you what we are in the office, but I hope it's an intro. I hope it's a little fun. Okay, so the 4 of us that are, a lot of us are visible. It's not the whole team, but I'll tell you just a few support what we are. Okay, so in the Office of Innovation Entrepreneurship, we are supporting health innovators. You're seeing a lot of that here today. That includes the health associates, but it also includes graduate students, faculty, or medical students, ongoing work in residence, and faculty and staff. We have all these health innovations. Today is also a presentation of the health innovations. This is not the only piece, but there's a number of pieces upstream and downstream that we support in the Texas Health Catalyst program, for example. And I made my mistake of missing a prop. I think you've seen some announcements. We are building here in Austin, and we are really excited about the Texas innovations and the potential for what we're calling Texas Health Startups. So this is the work that's ongoing. I hope today that you are making additional connections, and I hope that we are helping you be successful as well here in Austin and beyond. Okay, so just a quick space. Ruben's talking a little bit about the Texas Health Catalyst. These are some of the numbers. I just want to highlight a couple. Since this decade started a decade ago, over 600 applications have hit us. We've actually supported, slightly less than 100, but today we've actually hit a really important milestone, over $100 million of follow-on funding for those projects. So that's pretty great. That's a celebration for all of you. In 2024, we've actually supported 2 cohorts in 2024. They were both pitched here as a part of the Roundup Rodeo. We already have 4 substantial funding for those projects. For $400,000 support, over $5 million has come back, and over $1 million is coming back to UT, raising the pie. So I think everything that's going on in this room, it's all of us, is successful. And so I just hope that you understand that we're also continually learning, but we really think that it's effective in almost any metric that you want to give. Okay, so it's also critical with all the partners. I just highlight, some of you have seen this slide, we've added a few key pieces. I just want to point out we have our wonderful new director of the Texas Robotics, and we clearly did this wrong because we have him in the back room. So you'll have to catch him later. And we have awesome industry partners that continues to grow, and we really foster this as an active process. Okay, I just want to highlight a few today. We have, of course, we're here at Capital Factory, but we have ACC, Nancy's here. We have BioAustin as a key piece, plug and play, and then HTRI and Nuclei. These are all critical pieces. They're all connectors and all play parallel and sister roles or sibling roles in what we're doing. Okay, we are actively building out an NSF submission in January, which is to try to build and take the lessons learned for what we're doing, partner with other institutions, and Ruben is taking the lead for this NSF art proposal. This is a call, if you're interested in building out a national network for making the successes for programs like Texas Health Catalyst, not just be here in Austin, but be expanded, it's a call for you. We'd love to have your letters of support. I'm interested in the Texas Health startups taking what we're going on and taking the projects that are getting traction and looking for the opportunity to accelerate them in a follow-up stages. And if you're interested in that, that would be probably a non-UT type organization. I'm here as a call out for action. I'd love to talk to you today. Okay. What do we have next? We have the wonderful, amazing, thanks to all of you, the citizens of Texas, who voted for DPRIT. This is amazing. This is going to change how we think about dementia and neurodegenerative diseases. So what are we going to do? We're going to make a call this spring. It's opened up today. If you have interesting ideas, we would like to participate, and we will, whether you are an industry corporate partner, we would like to match you with innovators inside UT. If you're inside UT, we want to match you within UT or within corporate partners. We just set it up. We're excited for what's going to be spring, end of April, Texas Health Catalyst, Roundup, and Rodeo. Okay, quick sneak peek. We're thinking a lot about the fall. We're thinking about material science. We're thinking about nanomedicine, regenerative scaffolds, smart biomaterials, all of that coming up. So this is just a preview. It's a crystal ball. It's a crystal ball, so it's likely wrong, but we'll see. It might be right. Okay, your call to action to connect to us. We have LinkedIn pages. We have our websites. We have representation today. Happy to spread the word, and I ask you to connect with us as we are in builder mode. Thank you.
I am going to just take a moment. I forgot to do the audience voting quite some time ago. So if you could just recall back to about 10 minutes and vote for your favorite, just take a minute or so, that would be so lovely. Thank you very much. Okay, looks like everyone's been able to scan at least. Okay, so then now moving on, I am going to introduce the Associate Vice President of Tech Transfer within the Discovery to Impact at UT Austin to say a few words. Andy?
Awesome, thanks everyone, it's great to be here. I'm Andy Moss. I don't have slides, but that's okay. I'm the Associate Vice President for Research or Technology Transfer here at Discover to Impact. And I've been here just under 1 year, all right? And I came here from LSU, but I am a UT Longhorn. I got my master's degree here, so this was a little bit of a coming home. And if you think about universities, you've heard about a couple really awesome research projects going on inside laboratories and the educational process that we have going on with our students and the efforts of the graduate students to move these to the marketplace. Since the dawn of time, universities have been all about disseminating knowledge. We're never going to change that. That is always going to be our job. But one of the ways that we can disseminate knowledge is through commercial vehicles. And I know there's lots of really smart people in this room, way smarter than me, and many of you have published, and many of you look to your H-score to see how impactful you can be in society. And for those of you that don't know, that's how many people cite your articles, your references, and then how many of them use those in their scientific discovery process. The reality is, though, that a commercial vehicle is, if successful, is always, and I'm a lawyer, and lawyers very often don't say always, but a commercial vehicle is always going to be more impactful, if successful, than just academic research publications. Discovered Impact is responsible for commercializing the University of Texas's intellectual property portfolio. Our bread and butter is patenting, licensing, and collaborative research. However, we also include proof of concept activities, we include startup, seed fund, and we have a life science technology development program and a wet lab incubator up off of Palmer Lane. One of the reasons I took this job a year ago was when I made the decision, was because of what you heard from the VPR this morning from Dr. Fernanda, and that is how fast our research portfolio is growing as a university. We are now at $1.38 billion of research this past year, likely going to go to $1.4 billion. That puts us in the top 5 of public universities for research. When it comes to technology commercialization based on research, deep tech, the research portfolio is the feedstock to get those identified invention disclosures and then move those into the marketplace. The second reason that I was really excited about this is because I've been watching from afar UT announce and establish the Dell Medical School, one of the only recently established medical schools in a metropolitan area at a university that is growing and developing. They've spent 10 years getting the base work in place, and now I see Dell Medical School growing their research portfolio and their research footprint exponentially over the next 3 to 4 years. And that's what makes me excited and why I'm here to talk about the things that we have going on. We're excited at Discovered Impact. One of our judges was from Discovered Impact. Many of the mentors are from Discovered Impact. We're excited to partner with the Texas Health Catalyst team and the efforts here to move these technologies into the marketplace. If anything I've said resonates with you, we have a couple folks from our Discovered Impact team here with us this afternoon. Reach out to us, connect with us, look us up on LinkedIn. We'd happily talk to you about some of the technologies that are moving out of the lab into the marketplace. Thank you. You guys can fight over it.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. So I just want to, as we get ready for the round 2 kickoff, I did want to, I realized I forgot something. So as we are rolling out the spring call, which is for the DPRIT and the dementia, we're going to do one tweak to the Texas Health Catalyst, which is that we actually have an amazing domain expert on our team, which is Dr. Martin Rotman, who did a PhD, postdoctoral work in Alzheimer's research. So as we build out, I just want to call out that if you're going to do any of the dementia research, the lead person for those projects is going to be Martin. And so he's going to be taking us through the next round as well today. So Martin, come on up.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you, everybody. I'm Martin Rotman. I am the Assistant Dean for Medical Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and indeed, in a previous life, I did research Alzheimer's disease as well as brain cancer. Now I'm responsible for the training of our innovators and our future innovators, and so I'm very excited to see all the quality presentations here on the stage today and the entire cohort of health associates, and especially excited about previous health associates who have come back today right, to see this and stay engaged in this ecosystem. So what's going to happen now, we're going to do the next 4 rounds of innovations presented. The concept is exactly the same. They will present, our esteemed judges will give the questions, and we thank them very much for their time. We have here the 4 judges that we've identified for this round to ask specifically the questions, or sorry, to judge the answers, but all the judges can ask questions. In particular, Beth Hood, who's the Executive Director of Industry and Research Relations at the Cockrell School of Engineering. We also have Claire England, who is an investment partner at the Green Parks and Golf Ventures, not GP Ventures, as well as Sri Kalikonda, who's our brand new Vice Dean for Practice, as well as our Chief Clinical Transformation Officer at Dell Medical School. And we have Amy Iberg, who's the Executive Director of Drug Discovery at the biotech company, clinical stage company, Recursion. And so I thank you very much for your time and your expertise. And the rest of the teams are exactly the same way, right? So we're going to have our health associates come on stage, do their 60-second introduction of explaining how they helped during their consulting time these innovation teams, and then introduce their lead innovation pitcher onto stage. And so as I ask the second group of Anne to go behind and get ready to come on stage, I will ask our first group to come on and give that opening presentation.
Hi everyone, my name is Mihir, and along with my fellow associates Andrew and Meha, I've had the privilege of working with Mr. Andrew Chang and Dr. Gurpreet Singh on a novel, active, therapeutic, robotic, and artificial intelligence platform for complex orthopedic surgery rehabilitation. As health associates, we've helped further the rehabilitation platform, working closely with our amazing mentors, Mr. Joe Scraba and Dr. Sarah Gebauer, to help define the efficacy of at-home and active therapeutic solutions, navigate the clinical reimbursement strategies such as Level 2 and RTM codes, and explore the value-based care opportunities for this kind of device. This experience has provided us with invaluable real-world exposure to the complex research and reimbursement strategies involved with medical devices, and we're incredibly grateful for the opportunity. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce Andrew Chang.
Thank you so much for all the support during this preparation phase. The associate has been great, our mentor has been great. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Before I begin, I want to share a short story of a patient. Her name is Sarah, who recently went through the TKA surgery, or total knee replacement surgery. She went home the very same day, which is very normal these days, but she started to notice there's a bit of a swell on her knee, but she didn't know what that was. And her physical therapy clinic was an hour drive away from her home, so it was very hard for her to actually get to the physical therapy. So by the time she came back for a follow-up, her knee was already very stiff, requiring manipulation under anesthesia, which can be very risky as well as very costly too. So that story is not very exceptional in the US right now. The problem is we have over 1.3 billion cases of major joint replacement surgery each year. The problem is the hospital stay have been decreasing to nearly just about 1 day now. Yet the patient's home still remains as the clinical blind spot. So it's pretty obvious that only 1 out of 3 patients can actually strictly follow their protocol, where the dissatisfaction from these surgeries still remains as high as 25%, especially for those people in the rural area. On the other hand, there is a very encouraging news as well. The active therapy engaged within the 48 hours after surgery has been shown to increase the range of motion as well as the quality of life for the patient, and also decrease the complication. And also, the clinician-guided tele-rehab has been proven to be as effective as the traditional PT as well. So the evidence is very clear. We need to provide the patients with a guided and measurable recovery plan. So that's why we're building this active therapy robot paired with AI-driven recovery data platform, where the smart sensors can check the range of motion, stiffness, adherence of the patient. The active therapy robot can provide assistance as needed and the resistance exercise that's customizable for each patient. And the clinicians can also receive the real-time data so that before the complication ever occurs, they can react to it. So now we're turning the clinical blind spot into a spotlight of opportunity. We have an excellent team. This is not our first rodeo, quite literally. Dr. Koo and myself have launched the neurorehabilitation robotic product in the global market, taking the company all the way through the pre-IPO phase. And Dr. Bus and Dr. Singh also adds a critical and clinical knowledge to our team. With help of our advisors, we're building controlled clinical study around range of motion, stiffness, adherence, as well as the device safety. And also for the reimbursement pathway, we're building the value-based care model that is already being practiced at UT Health Austin today. With help of Texas Health Catalyst program, we're building the first functional prototype that can be used for the first clinical trial next year, with a plan to submitting the clinical clearance for 2027. And our mission is very clear that we want to help every patient to reach their fullest recovery potential in the safety of their home. Thank you.
So is the idea that every patient would be sent home with this device that would be used at home?
Yeah, so in the previous slide, we have helped the patient with the neurological, we developed the device for the neurological patient, and we usually send the device before the procedure happens, so they can go through the pre-rehab process and then get the surgery and then actually go through the rehab afterwards too.
I'm curious at a high level at how you make that cost effective for the 1.3 million patients annually.
Yeah, the cost effective is something that we're actually actively working on right now, but I don't have an exact number on top of my head. Yeah.
So the robotics rules are supposed to not replace or take the job of a human. Has that changed?
Yes, that's a great question. A lot of the PTs actually do fear some of these robotics and AI platforms, but in reality, there's a lot of needs for doing the rehabilitation at home these days. There's a lot of patients who don't have access to the PT. The case of Sarah is the exact prime example of that. And especially for the people living in the rural area, the access to the PT is 50% less. So for those cases, we don't have any other choices but to provide solutions like this. But even for the metropolitan area, this actually complements the PTs because it's not a single device that does everything. It needs to be guided by the clinicians.
Yeah, thank you. I think you answered the question. I was wondering about were there specific patient populations you're targeting? Because I think the scalability across 1.3 million joints might be a little challenging.
Yes, that's a great question. 1.3 billion, it's total knee replacement surgery as well as the total hip replacement surgery. But we also work with a lot of patients doing complex ACL and repair and reconstruction surgeries. And those patients also do require things like this. So yeah, those are the markets that we're looking into now.
Very nice. I'm going to ask the third team to get ready behind the curtain, and I will ask the second team to send their HAs up to come and present.
Hello everyone, my name is Mary Manise and I'm here with my fellow health associates, which includes Anika Kopula and Alexis Brock. We have had a great opportunity to work with Dr. Claire Sokas and Dr. Ann Majewicz on the Hygia Touch project, which is focused on developing a contact-based humanoid cleaning system for the operating room. As health associates, our role has been to strengthen the project's foundation. Over the course of this cycle, we focused on market research, including mapping out the current landscape of OR cleaning technologies and identifying FDA predicate devices to better prepare for a future regulatory pathway. We also analyze infection control standards and possible cost drivers that influence hospital adoption decisions. All of this work is helping our team align the innovation with real clinical needs, regulatory expectations, and feasibility. We're excited to continue supporting the project as it moves toward prototyping and testing. I would now like to introduce you to Dr.
Thank you so much. So I'm back again giving this talk on behalf of someone else. Claire would have loved to be here, but she wasn't able to, so I'll do my best not to butcher her slides. So I'd like to introduce to you Hygeia Touch, a new contact-based cleaning humanoid for the operating room. Anyone who has ever spilled a glass of wine and had to clean it up themselves knows that successfully removing the stain from your pristine white carpet includes a combination of immediate action, the right cleaning supplies, and some elbow grease. Now imagine the stakes are a little higher. Every day in the operating room, we take care of patients with everything from infections to broken bones. We encounter blood and bodily fluids, and cleaning the operating room is a huge effort that requires dedicated teams to remove waste, wipe down surfaces, and disinfect equipment. If not done correctly, there is a high risk of spreading germs, and in the most severe case, leading to extensive hospital-acquired infections. This is what a clean operating room should look like. However, tried not to make it too gory, but however, after any given surgery, the cleaning staff may need to clean blood and other fluids off equipment, the floors, and even the walls. There is an obvious opportunity to augment cleaning through autonomous cleaning robots to ensure efficacy and consistency. And while there are robots in the cleaning market today, they are very limited in scope. For example, using UV light to disinfect, but not capable of removing debris, or to sweep floors without being able to pick up and put away objects that also need to be cleaned. There is no current solution on the market that has addressed the need for manual cleaning. The dirty work of wiping away bodily fluids like blood is the first and essential step in the cleaning process, and it requires the bulk of the task. Our solution is to develop a humanoid robot for contact-based cleaning of the OR that leverages a unique methodology to learn cleaning skill primitives from expert demonstrations and then execute those tasks using a transformer-based learning paradigm we've innovated in our lab. Our team includes clinical experts in surgery and hospital-acquired infections, engineering experts in AI, and developing human-centered and human-enabled robots. Our co-PI, Luis Sentis, founded the automation company Apptronic, who recently raised $350 million in Series A funding to develop AI-powered humanoids. Our Texas Health Catalyst reviewers identified 3 major risks to our product, justifying the cost, commercial viability, and proving that we could reduce infections. Well, to the first point, now is the time for humanoids. The cost is exponentially decreasing and availability is exponentially increasing. The average hospital spends $2.3 million on cleaning and overall costs the healthcare market $4.6 billion annually. In terms of commercial viability, there are predicate devices already enabling a 510K pathway, and we argue that proving a humanoid robot can clean as good or better than humans is a critical reason for why we should receive this award. And this is our path to market, is to continue developing our prototype device, seek IP, and build partnerships with existing companies like Apptronic. Thank you.
So one of the biggest standard issues with humanoid robotics currently is that they have to be fenced off away from humans. There are no humanoids currently certified for collab safety. The only one I know of that's pursuing that is Agility Robotics. Is Apptronic pursuing that, and what is the plan to handle the humanoid being around humans in the operating room?
Yes. Yes, so in terms of exactly what Apptronic is pursuing, I can't necessarily say, I'm not part of the company. However, Luis and I are both experts in human physical interaction, and so thinking about safety in that context is definitely 100% a major focus of both of our research. The other, to your point, is that much of the cleaning happens, yes, between cases, but also at night. And so this is when the patients are out of the room and the doctors are out of the room. So the idea of this device is that we will have humans train the robots on how to do the procedure, via this demonstration learning transformer paradigm that we're developing, but then the humans will leave the environment and the humanoids will be the ones doing the cleaning with vision to make sure that it does the job correctly.
Yeah, thanks. So cleaning the whole OR sounds like a great goal, but I'm wondering if there is maybe like one task that would be still be a significant, make a significant impact, but is more achievable.
Yeah, I think what we're going to focus on first is wiping surfaces, so countertops and the hospital bed.
So it's interesting. Why start in the OR, not the patient room, where there's probably more opportunity than the ORs as far as turnover, et cetera?
Yeah, you know, that's a good question, and I would probably have to defer to Claire, who's the clinical expert, being the engineer in the room. I'm not entirely sure, but I think from an engineering perspective, kind of the idea of the fluids, cleaning the fluids, and this contact-based cleaning is, I think, something that we're excited about from a scientific perspective, and we think there could be some value there because nothing else is able to do that at the moment.
Thank you very much. Very nice. I want to point out one of the programs that we have running at the Dell Medical School is Caffeinate and Innovate, and this team, as well as one team later on, joined about 2 months ago in that Caffeinate and Innovate program, matched up and decided, okay, let's see what we can do to solve true clinical problems with technologies that are currently being developed or may need to be developed very, very soon. And so in a very short amount of time, they were able to get to this point already. I would like to ask the third team to come up. So Tony, if you can give the introduction.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Tony, and along with Pranita and Natalie, we've had the privilege of supporting an amazing speech technology project led by Dr. Yo, Dr. Wong, and Dr. Harwath. Today, speaking here is natural for us. For tens of millions of patients, speech disorders have made confident communication unimaginable. Even worse, treatment remains subjective and restricted to English. Our team has developed an AI-driven speech assessment tool designed to address these two key issues, providing personalized and objective care to patients across all backgrounds. As associates, we've helped build a path to market, coordinate meetings, and assist with today's final pitch. We've also identified clinical partners and met with them to discuss feedback into competitors, as well as workflow integration and confidence that our tool is something clinicians truly need. Under the guidance of our amazing mentors, Ms. Wong and Dr. Faber, our team's taken great steps to push this idea from bench to bedside, and we're confident this tool will redefine the availability and ability of speech therapy. Thank you, and now to welcome Dr. Yo.
Hi everyone, my name is Eunjung and I'm very excited to introduce our solution on behalf of our team. Speech is one of the most natural ways we connect with the world, with our friends, with our families, and our communities. But for people with dysarthria, speech communication is a daily challenge. Dysarthria, caused by conditions such as Parkinson's and ALS, disrupts a person's ability to articulate sounds clearly, which leads to communication breakdowns and reduced quality of life. Today, around 3 million people in the US and up to 70 million worldwide suffer from dysarthria, and this number is expected to increase with aging populations. Yet, speech-language pathologists today heavily rely on in-person perceptual evaluation, which is not only subjective but also time-intensive and difficult to scale, leaving SLPs overburdened and patients left behind. Our solution is trying to mitigate this gap by developing an AI-based clinician-facing assessment app which produces objective clinical scoring, phoneme transcriptions, and detected mispronunciations. Our solution is based on a multilingual model leveraging universal form recognizer with a language-specific filter and has been validated on 4 different languages, including English, Spanish, Italian, and Tamil. Our solution experience is very simple. First, upload an audio, second, select the language, and third, type in the expected text. And within seconds, you'll get the clinical measurements that you need for the initial diagnosis, intervention planning, and monitoring. Our solution has 3 big edges compared to the existing approaches. First is it is multilingual. Second, it is easy to adopt because we don't need full retraining to add a new language. And third, we generate the phoneme level of fine-grained assessments for detailed analysis for clinicians. Our team is an interdisciplinary team consisting of computational linguists, clinical experts, and speech AI experts across different institutions. We got great feedbacks from the reviewers and mentors. For clinical validation, we're consistently communicating with the SLPs. Regulatory pathway, we have initiated contact with Texas Health Catalyst for guidance. For commercialization, we have disclosed software copyright disclosure, identified potential strategic partners, business models such as tier subscriptions, and market opportunities for both US and global market. Our path to market is simple. We're currently in an R&D stage with a very strong results. Next stage will be the clinical validation in a real clinical scenario with Austin Speech Labs and Speech and Hearing Center. Based on this evidence, we will strengthen our IP with the discovery to impact. After that, we will start commercializing with the strategic partners to deploy our solutions to SLP clinics and hospitals. Our mission is to make speech assessment accessible to everyone, everywhere, so that to make a world where everybody can share their messages with the world. Thank you.
How specific do you think this is to dysarthric speech care versus maybe helping people learn to learn a new language, or can you talk about how it could be used in other applications?
Sorry?
How it could be used for other applications?
Instead of dysarthric speech care, we think this solution can be also used for L2 speech, like language learners too, because our solution basically outputs the segments that where the mispronunciation is happening. So we also think instead of along with the dysarthric care, this solution can be used for L2 speech education.
So is the idea that it's to automate and speed up the assessment process, or is there an aspect of it that's also like diagnostics for next steps, and or is it just for the assessment phase?
So we have two phases. First will be the initial diagnosis, which summarizes all the speech patterns, and the next step will be based on those evidence. We can suggest which interventions are needed, like which segments should be like treated first, then the other.
Thank you.
Kind of building on what you said, actually, does it make sense to look into, rolling this out in programs where you could actually get more people access to speech therapy? Back to this idea of diagnostics, where potentially you are going through places like clinics that are serving people that may be having speech issues, rather than going directly to the people that are providing speech services.
So currently service will be, we're thinking of providing the service to the SLP clinics and the hospitals, but based on, like, thanks to our health associates, Tony, we could get some feedbacks from the SLPs that it will be really great to get the patient-facing app too, so that the patients can also use this service within homes for pronunciation, like training and stuff. But yeah, that's the future goal that we'll have.
Thank you very much. And then we'll have our eighth team, the fourth team of this second round, to come on stage. So Hannah, maybe you can come and introduce your team. This team also comes from a Caffeinated Innovate.
All right, to go ahead and end the first session today, I have a question that I want to first ask. Has anyone ever felt frustrated by long delays for medical appointments? Now imagine finding blood in your urine and having to wait 3 months to check for bladder cancer. That's a problem our project, Optimized Cystoscopy, led by Dr. Vij, Dr. Alan Beghi, and Mohammed, set out to solve. I'm Hannah Choi, and with my fellow health associates, Manal and Zoha, we conducted competitive landscape research and identified a key gap, that automation exists only for complex post-cancer cases, but not for diagnostic cystoscopy. This work showed us how a robotics concept evolves from the lab into market strategy and highlighted the importance of asking sharp questions from the user's perspective. Our mentors helped shape our strategy. Alyssa Maldonado Holmhertz on regulatory integration Innovation, Ashley Pippin on clinician validation and remote scanning, and Arturo Pena on value proposition. Together, we're shaping our vision: every cystoscopy, fast, accurate, accessible. Now I'd like to hand it off to Dr. Vich.
All right, thank you, Hannah, for that introduction and for all of your guys' help with this. I'm Dr. Sarah Vidge. I'm a urologist here in the Department of Surgery. So as Hannah mentioned, imagine you see blood in your urine. You get in to see your doctor. They inform you that the next step is to place a tiny camera inside the urethra in the bladder in the office to look for a bladder tumor, among other things. And they tell you the next available appointment is 3 months. That's hard to stomach. So about 1 million diagnostic cystoscopies are performed annually in the United States, and this procedure detects bladder tumors, among other things. Bladder cancer is a highly morbid cancer that can grow and spread quickly, so time is critical. Access to this office procedure can create a huge bottleneck, as the average wait times, according to the data, is about 4 to 12 weeks, or 1 to 3 months. And due to limited steerability and poor ergonomics of our existing scopes, it can be difficult to visualize the bladder, leading to about a 10% tumor miss rate. And additionally, these procedures are performed by urologists, and with our aging population, we are not training enough urologists, and availability to get this procedure is limited. So we present a solution that attaches to our existing cystoscopes that are widely used by all urologists. This is one of them here. We're not recreating the scope. This is an attachment that will go on existing cystoscopes. And what it will do is robotize the scope such that the operator can manually control the scope using something like a remote control that looks familiar to all of us from video games. These images can then be sent electronically to a urologist, whether they are on site or off-site, so that helps populations that are underserved and have intermittent access to urologists. We'll have a lower tumor miss rate and improved procedure and improved success rates. The markets for cystoscopy is huge, and it's growing. It's thought to reach about almost $2 billion by 2033. There's definitely a market for this procedure, but unfortunately, access to the proceduralist is not growing at the same rate. Our experienced mentors, as Hannah went over, guided us through various stages of our proposal to ensure that we have a path to market, and we're very grateful for all of their insight. One additional benefit to our solution is that this can be operated by a nurse or a medical assistant. It can take the urologist out of the mix for the procedure, freeing up the urologist to do higher complex care, whether it's in the office or in the operating room, potentially freeing up 2 hours per day for those providers. Our path to patients, I've shown here. We are early in the process, but we are working on prototype development now that we would expect to finish by the end of next summer, followed by clinical system integration, followed by animal and human testing. Our team is uniquely positioned to tackle this problem. We have areas of expertise in both clinical and engineering. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Great presentation. Do you foresee this being able to be done by primary care physicians, or would this be in the urologist's office?
I think it could be done through primary care physicians. Oftentimes, because of the complaints that are the clinical situations that then designate the need for a cystoscopy, we're already involved. But the beauty of this is that it doesn't require a surgically trained provider. I think the current scopes, it requires a fair amount of expertise and experience to manipulate these things, particularly in a male. The urethra is a lot longer. And so if you have this robotic control, an RN or even an MA can manipulate this thing into the bladder. You've got visualization, and that can be sent anywhere to somebody off-site, in another office, that kind of thing. So yeah, theoretically, yes.
So what would it take to actually train somebody to do that? Would a nurse practitioner have to become certified, or would the license need to be revisited so that it would include that one procedure? Like, how long will that take? How much will it cost? that sort of thing?
Sure. So currently, MDs and APPs, nurse practitioners, PAs, can do these. In fact, a lot of offices are utilizing APPs, again, to increase access, but their ability to make treatment decisions is limited. So you can train anybody to do this. We do need to explore the billing ramifications if it's performed by, say, an MA, and the urologist is looking at the images. How does that impact billing? But you're going to find a lot more tumors, get patients expedited through care. There's a lot of downstream revenue. So these are all some of the details that we have to sort out. But I mean, you can see in that video, it's pretty easy to manipulate, assuming reasonable looking at it. There's always going to be situations where an MD may have to be pulled in.
Thank you very much. Very, very nice. For the additional questions that I know were there, also for those additional questions in the audience for both this, but also for all the 8 teams, we have a 2-hour social event up on the 8th floor at the very end of this. So there's ample opportunity to have those follow-up questions. I definitely advise you to do so. First up, before we go to that space, we first have the voting for the audience favorite, for the Posse's Award. So please go ahead and scan that. The 4 judges from this cycle, please follow Praneet to your deliberations session. And while you all are scanning that, I'm going to ask Steve Ecker to come up onto the stage to introduce our panel of previous learners.
Oh. Hey, pardon? I'm going to grab this. All right. So we're trying a little bit different this time. This is the Roundup Rodeo. We want to just, we've ended with the rodeo. We have our 8 teams. They're going to be judged, and we're going to hope to continue to support them. We have selected 3 prior participants to tell you an update. We thought we would do it via just a simple panel approach. So we have Mike Sandoval. Mike, I know you're here. Come on up, Mike. We have Rena Ghosh and Ilya Finkelstein. Ilya, come on up. So have a seat. They've all been here on the stage. You were in the rodeo prior. So quick, let's go through your short bios, and I'll hand you the light, and then we'll talk about your projects.
All right, so my name is Ilya Finkelstein. I'm a professor in molecular biosciences here at UT Austin. Did you want the project also? Sure. Yeah, okay, so molecular biologist looking in, working in the areas of gene editing. And we're interested in making cleaner, more pure RNA therapeutics, which you may have heard about, since the COVID vaccine put it on the global stage. So we were funded to work on advanced proteins for making RNA therapeutics, and I think it's going quite well. We got phase 1 SBIR, did I do that?
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, funding, follow-on funding, and are now working with a company to bring our enzymes to them.
Hi, I'm Rana Ghosh. I'm an associate professor in the College of Pharmacy. I guess the project we were working on for Texas Health Catalyst was actually developing a gene delivery platform to treat primary ciliary dyskinesia. It's a rare genetic disease. And kind of maybe piggybacking on some of Ilya's work, thinking about gene editing, which is great cargo to make those correct the mutations, but then how do you deliver it to then target the appropriate cell type that carries the mutation? So we really have focused on the delivery aspect, and that's sort of part of the drug. And with that Texas Health Catalyst support, we may well apply for additional funding related to sort of the delivery technology to try and target different cell types, and have received some NIH funding and looking at leverage it into SBR and additional business opportunities.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Sandoval. I'm a graduate student in the College of Pharmacy. And over the last couple of years, I've been really passionately curious about how do we leverage thin film freezing technology that we developed in our lab over the last several years. I've been having a lot of success working with the Texas Health Catalyst Fund and really help curating our idea. as well as getting in front of the right people. We participated in the Nexus program that was led by Cindy Walker-Peach, who's a force of nature in this space, and she really helped us really mature our whole thought process when it comes to developing our technology, how to approach the customer discovery aspect of it, and we learned a lot. So we're looking forward to share some of our thoughts here.
So great. So we're talking about robotics today. These other projects are really under other themes, right? In precision medicine or rare disease. And so I just want to highlight that we're here to support projects across the whole spectrum, but also, you've got a gene editor who's delivering a universal tool for making genetic cargo. You have a pharmacist who's developing, delivery of novel therapeutics, and you've got another scientist who's working on potentially what we're making the stable form of these same kinds of things. So these are all representative of the kinds of technology space that's here at UT. Okay, so I wanted to get a question. What's the most exciting thing that's ongoing for you? It doesn't have to be tied to this project, but I'm interested in what's driving you here at UT. What's an exciting thing? You can talk about ballroom dancing too. It's up to you. But what excites you right now? Mike, you got the microphone.
Sure. Thank you. Opportunity. I'll pivot on our technology first. The more we look into how we're able to solve, so what we're using the technology for is to solve a century-old problem, is that blood's only stable for 42 days, refrigerated. So when you think about the supply chain of blood, it's structurally fragile, meaning that only 75% of the supply chain only has less than 3 days of blood on supply, and 25% have less than 1 day of blood on supply. And that's a bleed of any kind of mass casualty situation. When we think about the military or the battlefield, 90% of the preventable deaths on the battlefield could have been prevented if we had access, or the medics had access to blood. Meaning that if we could apply our thin film freezing technology to take liquid blood and transform it into a powdered blood, we then now have a dosage form or form factor that's extremely lightweight, drone deliverable, easy to carry by medics, that it really solves a big problem that the military has yet to address over the last 100 years. And more importantly, there's a significant number of soldiers that could have been saved, or their death saved if we had access to blood. So a lot of our technology is focused on blood at the moment, but we're also expanding into like T-cell therapy, making inhalable drugs for using antibiotics.
It's exciting.
To kind of go on Mike's point, I'm sort of excited about opportunity. We developed delivery systems, and to kind of give a point of reference, the COVID mRNA vaccines, the mRNA was encapsulated in a fat bubble. It was pretty effective, but there's still a lot of space to improve. How do you do it for deliver things for non-vaccine applications? How can you do things for repeat dose? To give context to those, those mRNA vaccines, really 3% of the actual genetic cargo makes it, out of the cell, or into the region of the cell, and you don't even know how much of that actually got into the right cell type. So there's a lot of opportunities on the delivery side for different types of indication. We focus on certain pulmonary diseases, but really how to get to the right tissue, the right cell type, and then how can you really give a lot more of that cargo so it can actually be more effective. I'm not trying to give a shout out to Ilya's stuff, but cargo like that stuff, the genetic cargo that he works on in his lab, to even be more effective. And so I'm really excited about that.
Me too. We have a follow-up call tomorrow to collaborate on another project. I think I'm gonna diverge a little bit. I'm excited about working with people, and as I progress in my career, I more and more so enjoy working with and leading larger groups of scientists who bring in expertise I would absolutely not have. So I have a large project I'm running with many PIs, and I'm actually signed up to write another one of these things, center grants. And it's been a lot of fun to talk to, 20, 30 PIs, scientists, experts in their fields, integrate that expertise, find a place where we can pitch in a little bit of our work, and talk to creators like you guys. So I really appreciate this community. Come talk to us if you want to collaborate.
That's awesome. Okay, so to round out, you've been, had this experience. You each have, your unique experiences. For future applicants to the programs, for future faculty and projects, are there any lessons learned that you can offer?
First of all, there's this perceived need for, being a PhD level scientist or a professor, and it helps. But if you're a graduate student and you have a good idea, just do it. You have nothing to lose, right? All they can say is no. So I strongly encourage you to try if you're a junior scientist or engineer sitting in the audience.
I think the path, the journey, the progress is not linear. You go up, you go all over, you have a lot of failures. I mean, these are very obvious things, but I'm sort of doing things now that I did when I started my PhD, and I did a postdoc. I thought I was getting away. I sort of came back, and so it's like, oh, so progress was in some ways almost like circular. I kind of went back to square. Well, I'm using too many shapes, but yeah, you kind of came back to a starting point. So progress isn't linear, and everyone's journey will be different. Good solid cliche advice.
Tap into your network. The University of Texas, specifically like the Dell Medical School, the College of Pharmacy. I mean, there's an enormous number of resources here and people that want to see you succeed. And I haven't come across a shortage of people that want to help. So I think it's okay to be vulnerable, with your ideas, as Dr. Ghosh mentioned. It doesn't. You don't necessarily need to be a PhD scientist, like Ilya said, to do great things. But we have an enormous university that is taking care of us.
Well, I just want to say thank you for your time, and thank you for all the work you do. Thank you very much. Awesome. All right. Okay. Okay, for our closing remarks, we have the opportunity to hear from our new, what is your title, Klaus? Chief Storyteller. I love that title. Okay, so Klaus has been, as a part of the Health Supernova and other members, but with his new position, he is going to close us out to get his perspective on what we're doing with Academic Medical Center here at University of Texas at Austin. Welcome, Klaus.
So robots, automation, AI, we just heard 8 teams talk about all of that. Now, there's clearly an undergrowth of innovation in Austin and in Texas and across the country and the world. Now let's take that and apply it to something very big. Very big is saying you got 5 years, you're going to have to build out an academic medical center for a city that doesn't have one. You want to integrate that with the larger UT Austin, as Steve just outlined. There is lots of opportunity to work with the greater community. Oh, and by the way, that's about 300 beds and 1.7 million square feet. Anybody want to guess how long it usually takes to build a new hospital? About 10 years. We're going to try to do it in 5. It's been about 4 decades since the last time a public university who did not already have an academic medical center built one. That basically means that there is no template to follow. By the way, we don't want to follow the template from 1985. It's been a few years. So if you remember what in 1985 was like, no robot, not a whole lot of automation, and no AI at that point in time. AI is old, but not that old. So what does that look like to actually completely reimagine? What does an academic medical center look like over time? Well, you have to reinvent everything, at least if you have the courage to not just follow what other people have done. What's the biggest problem that most new construction hospitals have? They're obsolete before they open. Because you think about the typical construction time of 10 years, just go back in time. 10 years is a long time. These days, 10 years is an eternity. So how do you start thinking about it differently and reimagine what the future might look like? Well, you can't truly predict the future. That's not possible. But you can prepare for it. It just requires that you rethink the construction process itself, the way that the place is going to operate, and by the way, the people that are going to work there. So we talk about automation and robots. In most cases, healthcare institutions have the problem that they have a whole bunch of people that grew up in a different world. We don't have any people yet. So how do you reimagine the workforce before you even hire them? That's a fascinating problem. What are the actual roles and responsibilities going to be in 2030, 2035, and 2040? So how do you actually tell the story of that when it doesn't exist yet? You have to put yourself in a future backwards mindset. What's the difference between a future backwards mindset and a current forwards mindset? Well, most institutions try to make the world better by starting where they are, and then they progress from there and make things better. Some of us, including myself and a few other people in this room, right, Jim? Standing right over there, trying to answer a different question. Dr. Korndorfer leads education for Dell Medical School. And working with him and others, we're trying to answer the question, well, what is education going to look like in 2040? What's research going to look like in 2040? What is care going to look like in 2040? Which kinds of people are going to work in our facility in 2040? It's a daunting task, isn't it? This is a burned ground, greenfield kind of opportunity. They don't happen too often in a lifetime. Are we tracking so far? All right, so what might it look like? Well, here are a few examples. Very likely, we're going to have individualized manufacturing of treatments at point of care. We've talked about all these things that we can do. Well, what if we're actually going to customize all those things at point of care? Compounding pharmacy has been around for a while, but start thinking about gene therapies. Those are individual. Start thinking about, I don't know, theranostics, which is individualized way of applying radioactive materials for treatment. That's been a thing in cancer for a long time. It will be coming for other diseases. Or what about robots? Not big ones, little ones, millimeter size, that will creepily crawly around on the surface of your body and maybe inside to do whatever they're programmed to do. The programming of those things are going to happen at point of care, like 15 minutes to an hour before you actually undergo the treatment. It's a little different. That's not how hospitals function today, is it? The obvious part is, well, we will use robots for logistics. Yeah, there are people using robots for logistics to move stuff around today, but how do you blend that with people, and how do you think through just something simple like, what's the timing going to be? Which things can I move at 2 a.m. in the morning versus which things do I actually have to move, like lunch, while there are people working and operating inside the facility? That's an operational challenge that you have to think through. What about the fact that healthcare, for as long as I can remember, as long as anyone actually can remember, has always been about do no harm? How do we deal with do no harm? The way we deal with do no harm is we standardize, because that's how you create safety and quality, isn't it? Yes? Until maybe it isn't. Because what I just talked about is the fact that variability in some cases actually delivers a better outcome. Not just operationally, but also from a clinical care perspective and certainly from a research perspective. So is it possible, applying modern technology, to actually embrace variability within reason and make variability your friend, not your enemy? I would like to think yes. If you have an intelligent environment that understands everything that's happening, you can do that. And perhaps the most profound question of all is, if you change the question around the building itself from what can the building do to support people to how does the building become part of the team? What can the building do as a care team member, as a researcher, as an educator? I'll tell you a lot when you start thinking through it. So how do you all become part of that? Engage us, but engage us with the problems we're trying to solve. The hard part about the journey we're on is we have a finite amount of time, we have a finite amount of funding, and we have to be very judicious in terms of exactly what big bets are we going to make. So find things that you are passionate about that fit our big bets, and that's where we're going to partner. And that was my 7 minutes.
All right, thank you, Klaus. And you can see why we asked Klaus to close out this session. Very, very inspiring. All right, so I'm just here to wrap things up. And thank you all for participating. You've heard from amazing students and researchers and clinicians, our amazing mentors, many of you in the audience. We are hoping to continue to do some amazing things, but there's only so much we can do within UT. As you heard from our success stories, and you've read many more, these things don't get out of the university and actually be successful without folks like yourself in the audience partnering with us and collaborating with us. So I would encourage you to reach out and continue the collaboration. As you heard, you got a teaser for the next Catalyst Spring Cycle around brain health. Please reach out if you would like to work with us or collaborate with us. Please connect with us. And my last thank you to everyone, to the teams, to the mentors, to the audience for you to come here and participate. I hope you will join us at the reception upstairs where we continue to network. And I'd love to say hi to some old folks that I've not seen before, or seen in a while. So thank you. Okay, one final announcement I forgot. Mentors in this cycle, as always, we have some special gifts for you, so please pick them up. There are those white little bags there as you go out. And you go upstairs through the elevators on the right.